good.
So, where we last left our heroes, the Unkind, we had made our way to Gildan, a land away from Esil, not by terrible long stretch, but to attempt to regain ourselves, get our equipment back, and try our best to get our footing under us. With three of us wormed, Karrith, Razzik, and Nyphix, we had tried our best to just maintain distance from people and see if there's anybody who we can get to help us out in our venture. We stumbled ourselves upon the Chimera at the request of some of the townspeople, saying they would be the best people to look for Adventurers Guild type jobs. And sure enough, we found a lovely man by the name of Armand who was there, who was happy to point us in the proper directions and get us some quests. We chose a gathering quest to gather a flower that is able to absorb and attain elements for its use in magic and potions and spellcraft. And we were told to go out and find 5 samples. However, to be very, very careful, because there are what are referred to as rune bears out there, and rune bears don't fuck around. They hit like Tonka trucks and can kill you. They also have claws that can absorb magic and use that magic in a way that does not exactly feel good to the people who it's being used upon. We got out there and got a couple of the flowers, no problem, while some of the bears were distracted. However, unfortunately, the bears ended up waking up after some bad rolls, and we found ourselves in a fight. The bears at first came out and tried to scare us away. Unfortunately, a fight ended up commencing, and we started getting the absolute shit kicked out of us while we were trying to get these flowers. Upon managing to escape, thanks to the quick thinking of Eelix, burning the last bit of his scroll to summon out Blondie and Danielle, 2 other people who were freed from prison and were talked to by Eelix to help us in our quests and who were supposed to help us with the Nyphix breakout. We managed to get our team out and back out onto safety. As we got away from the crowd and started trying to take a rest, we were sitting around our fires and regaining our health when Nyphix called Karrith over for a conversation. Basically, it's us against the world type conversation, and that we need to look out for each other because we're probably the last of what really truly stands for the Tree of Ravens. And she talked to Karrith and asked him that if it ever gets too bad, if it ever gets too far for her, that she expects him to do what it takes and to put her down. And Karrith, while having these episodes and trying his best to hear while he was wincing, almost in pain, he agreed wholeheartedly. And as Nyphix said, and I'll do the same for you if it ever gets too bad. And Karrith looked at her and said, that's the thing, Nyphix. I think you're too late for that one. And he passed out in Nyphix's arms. As Karrith goes down, Nyphix calls out to the other 2 and begins trying to alert them to Karrith's instance. And Karrith, when you awake, you find yourself on a white sand beach. You are laying down on this ground, and you hear waves lapping in from the side. Staring up at this sky, it's an entirely black sky. White clouds pass by across this obsidian skybox. And as you turn your head toward the water, even the water lapping in takes on a shade of black, with the foam echoing up over it being white. The landscape appears to go on forever, these sands and hills and dunes. There are no people in sight. But as you're trying to gather your recollection and figure out where you are, you do feel a presence here. What do you do?
Karrith would lean himself up a little bit to try to understand what he's looking at. I think the black sky is probably the thing that throws him off the most, so he continues to look at that. And he tries to like shift his gaze to understand where the sand begins and where it ends. Do I see any form of like land difference from the sand, or is it just white sand to a black ocean?
White sand to a black ocean. However, in certain spots, the sand does seem to be moving as if something is crawling underneath it. In certain spots, not everywhere, just here and there.
I stand up to my feet and I try to understand what is moving. Is it just like, does it look like fish, or is it like something that went away from the water and it's now on land?
You kneel down and you take your hand and move some of the sand, and you reveal a worm, rather large, about the size of a caterpillar. It looks at you, acknowledges you, and then crawls across the surface of the sand. And you'll watch as it starts crawling across the surface of the sand. Ice begins to form on its body, and it freezes.
Do I feel anything when it does?
A shiver runs down your spine, and the presence that you feel is getting closer. It feels small, unthreatening. And as you turn, you'll see it. A void dog standing behind you. Once it notices that you notice it, it sits back down on its butt and just kind of stares at you, cocks its head to the side.
Is it the only one there?
Yep. You'll notice that this void dog's eyes are ice blue. And it looks as though it's just waiting, perhaps to accompany you to wherever you're going.
I look the other direction of it for a second to make sure there's nothing like happening, like some fortress or anything, while I'm in the midst of playing with this dog. And I'm gonna kneel down so that I am eye to eye with it from its distance.
Okay.
And I'm gonna hold my hand out and reach for my dagger behind me.
You'll watch as it sees you reaching for your dagger, and it sees your hand out and present, and goes, "If you're planning violence, there's no such need for that. I assure you." And he takes his hand and puts it in yours. "I'm on your side."
You're not a normal dog, are you?
No, no. Though I take this form because it's a form that saved you back in the day. A form unthreatening, one that I feel you would be accustomed to, acclimated to. I could take another if you'd like.
I would rather not a lot of weird form changes, that's for one. How are you tapping into this sense? How do you know this about me?
Well, you consumed one of my creatures. In fact, this dog in front of you that you are currently holding, you ate me. Surely you don't think you've been holding the worms off on your own.
Sorry about that. Hmm.
Haven't you noticed? The pain has gotten less, the spasms less. And sure, I can't do everything for the mind. The mind, unfortunately, is going to suffer. But at least they've stopped trying to infest your muscles and making you grow.
Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly, ingesting your blood was the right thing to do.
Well,
Your type of blood.
I suppose that goes up to question, does it not?
There's many questionable things happening right now. Where am I?
You are within my realm, the realm of the void, the one of night, of darkness and subservience. Everything here bends to my will, but you, of course. You are here of your own accord, finally willing to sleep, to let the cares of the world wash over you. And that is how you are being allowed to speak to me.
So I'm dreaming.
Yes. And while you are in this loo state of yourself, I felt there was a possibility we could have a dialogue between us, a conversation. You see, without me, soon you will not be able to control yourself. But with me, well, let's face it, you're giving a piece of yourself over to me. Surely you figured it out by now, haven't you? When she was talking to you, it hurt, didn't it? You heard them.
They told me to obey.
Yes. It seems that unfortunately, without magic, you are going to become one of the subservient. You will bow to those who have magic and are wormed. Like your friend Nyphix here, and you'll see a scene as the sand begins to form, and you watch yourself forming into this battle. You are fighting away from Nyphix, and Nyphix, who is currently being battled at, calls out and just simply says, "Karrith!" And you stop what you're doing and dash over and get in front of her and shield her from a blow. Another scene begins to form, and you will see Razzik beginning a retreat, and you are on the battlefield currently trying to take somebody and get them off of the battlefield too, and you'll hear Razzik say something to you. Razzik, what do you call out to Karrith?
Fall back to the tree!
And as you do, you stop trying to grab this person, and you retreat back to the tree. And in both instances of this, there's a giant grin across your face from ear to ear. You fought one of these mindless creatures before, don't you remember? The sand begins to form once more, and you see yourself coming out to that device that sat in the middle of the ruin. And that giant hulking behemoth dashing across and wordlessly scooping you up. So lost, he couldn't even speak common anymore. He only knew his command. Kill the intruders. Now, of course, if this fate suits you, and you wish that, well, far be it for me to stop you. I'm sure you are.
Even have a choice in this.
I see. So you're one of the believers in fate, aren't you? Everything's fated to happen and slated to fall a certain way. But with most great powers, fate can turn a different direction. You can move the path, swing the pendulum,
Every decision I made, I had to do it in that moment.
Yes. But
I
that is
don't
how
truly
you've always,
believe it is fate.
but that is
I
how
feel
you've
like
always done things, isn't it?
So what are you getting at?
I wish to help you. I wish to lend you my abilities. Of course, there will be a cost. I will take a part of you. But you will be able to keep yourself. You will not have to listen to them. This does not make you immune, however. You are sitting right at the cusp. But it might give you a leg up in fighting them. After all, inside the void, not much can exist.
I get it.
But your decisions are your own. There is no need to make this now. You can step free from this zone, and I will not hold it against you. I will always be here. Powerless.
How do I not know?
I'm sorry, what?
How do I not know that you're just the same thing? Trying to find a way to worm in. No pun intended.
Well, I suppose that comes down to a matter of trust and gamble. But if I was, I would just take what I need. It hasn't had any other issues doing it.
You already made so much of a scenery as it is. All that's left of me is right here, and everything else is just a void to fall off the surface. You're giving me no choice.
Oh no, there's plenty of choice. If you only see the beach for the sand, then you don't see the possibility to create within it. A little bit of water mixed with this dirt will make a fine castle. You can build whatever you wish. And eventually you will wake up. When your team revives you, they are on their way back to town, their mission complete. Everything has a choice. You only see the one door. But that's the thing. When it comes to finding yourself at the bottom of a barrel, you find an easier time running in circles. It becomes easy. Because while you're trying to find your exit, you will keep looking and looking in the bottom, trying to find something where there is nothing left. But the only way to rise above what you are currently doing is to stop and find a new direction. The only way for your pain to end is for you to decide you do not wish to be in pain anymore and begin to take steps in the other direction. Healing is slow, and you don't have to do it alone.
But it's her worms, isn't it?
What do you mean?
If she's in control, then wouldn't it be better that way?
If that's how you feel. But would she want that? Or do you want
A lot
that?
of you have been saying that same decision. It's always if it's for somebody else or if it's for me.
I feel your answer lies in the fact that you have a hard time making decisions, and you wish for somebody else to lean to. Everybody looks at you and tries to find an answer from you. You don't understand. You wish to voice this upon someone else. But again, they are running in their own circles.
But I
Time
did
will
make a
come.
lot of decisions that hurt us. A lot. My
With those,
choice doesn't matter in this.
with those decisions for you, or for them?
Ever since I made that decision for me, I've seen my mother dead outside. A burning barn falling to pieces. I will never make that decision for myself ever again.
I see. Sometimes the door remains locked. But I will only open this door once you make the decision to step through. Remember
What
that.
door? There's nothing here.
And as you take another look, you will watch a slit form behind the dog and open. And as that slit opens, you will see a white brick path past that slit, a space swirling with stars, galaxies within it, and a power from it. A force, currently wild and untamed. And as quickly as it opens and allows you to peer into the unknown, into the void, into a space where you can even barely describe it, it shuts. When you're ready, you may call on me. When you're ready for you, remember my name. And as the stream begins to fade and you feel your head lifting off of a feathered shoulder, you will hear him say his name to you, which I'm going to message you. In a whisper. And with that, Razzik, Nyphix, and Eelix, you are wandering back with your prize to town, the gates of the city within your limits. And you'll hear Nyphix say to Karrith, "Oh hey, you up? You had us worried back there. Are you okay?"
I don't know. Whatever those rune bears were made of, they were made of some tough stuff. I don't think I've ever dreamt like that before.
When is the last time you slept? I mean, really slept.
I think that's besides the point now.
I'm gonna go refill.
Huh?
Wait, where we were supposed to grab something, did we? What
Yeah,
happened to those others?
Razzik got the last one. And you'll see Razzik carrying bags. And Razzik and Eelix, as you are watching this town come into focus, you will feel a pap of rain hit your head. And the sky, that was cloudy, begins to open up.
Dude, some double time at the town.
I'm gonna Whoa, there we go. I'm pretty much going to enjoy the rain a bit while walking through it. It ain't going to bug me.
All right. And I don't know how Nyphix would take rain, but most birds like rain, so I'm going to assume she's going to take her time as well.
That's
Probably.
a fair assumption, I would say.
And can everybody make me a perception check to see who notices something?
Sure.
I don't think I noticed shit.
I got
From
a 15.
It's a 6 plus... Where are you? Perception. 6 plus 8. 14.
So,
okay, I got 24.
Razzik and Eelix, you guys are taking note of the Razzik trying to stay out of it as best as possible as he's maneuvering back to town. And Karrith, as you're kind of taking it in, you'll feel Nyphix kind of bird up and her feathers kind of start getting wet, and you can tell she's kind of enjoying this. And from the waters that sit off to your right side on the way left side as you're entering into town, you will see something coming out of the water. And then something else. And then another, and another. It's fish. There are fish swimming through the rain.
That's some potent rain.
And they're not magical fish by any means. They're typical saltwater fish. Occasionally, you'll see like a koi, which isn't not a saltwater fish, but for this area, it's not ununique. And they begin taking to the skies, swimming through and being happy. You'll see that they brush against the trees, and they'll brush against an animal occasionally. And if there's a nearby animal that happens to eat fish, it'll take this opportunity to snatch its ass up. And they are swimming as if this was their own material fishbowl, in a way.
How far are we from town when we notice this?
About 80 feet.
When we get into town and ask somebody, is that normal with the fish?
You run into a lady who's watching the guard. Who goes, "Oh, yes, it's a bit of a thing here in Jordan. The elements are very, very strong here, and the fish are actually able to swim in its currents. They're friendly. They'll come up to you occasionally. It's one of the only times you can interact with them in their own environment.
Interesting.
Just don't do anything to, dissuade their trust."
If fish can swim up here, what would stop larger things from swimming here? Dangerous things.
Oh, they do. It's not unnormal to have a shark up here. But they swim slower than we can move, so when you see it, try to get out of the way. And of course, the water elementals and the wind elementals will take anything more dangerous out of town, so you don't typically have to worry about much. Just if you're on the outside of the border. And you'll watch as some fish scrape past an earth elemental on their way past.
Okay. Well, thank you. Have a nice day.
Yep. And Eelix and Karrith and Razzik, you will notice that there are some fish that are starting to approach you. You guys are out, you look friendly, and they're coming on in to see what you guys are doing. They're interested. And they're especially interested in Razzik, who's holding some magical flowers at the moment.
Yeah, I reach into my pack and pull out some trail ration and crumble it up and let them nibble at trail rations.
Wait. Don't touch him.
Didn't say anything about touching them.
Yeah, but I don't know how much we spread.
No, that's true. God, that's a terrifying thought, actually. Yeah, I guess I'll just use my staff to gently shoo them away then. Just real gently. Like, no, thank you. Have a good day, fish.
And Karrith, how about yourself? As Nyphix kind of lets you off of her back, how are you approaching these guys?
I feel deterred. I felt as if every nerve in my spine clenched and pulled, like prey to a predator. And I felt like I just did not want to create any more issues.
And Eelix, one of the koi goes to brush up underneath your right.
I'm not touching anything. Mm-mm.
What if it touches you?
Well, I'm wearing enough layers of clothing that hopefully it shouldn't matter. Like, I always got gloves, long sleeves, boots. Like, the only thing ever really exposed is my face. So
you'll feel it brush across your cloak, and then makes its way, kind of happily flitting. You'll see it start dancing through the air as it's going.
yeah, I try to stay, like, as covered as possible just because it works with disguises better. Less things to have to alter.
With that, you'll see Nyphix trying to keep things away from her as well, flitting through the rain as she can. A little perturbed as she's not allowed to enjoy it anymore. Are we heading back to the guild to turn in our loot?
I mean, I feel like that's the best course of action.
Yeah.
How do we get there before one of the fish get wormed?
Yeah.
She'll start double timing into the guild. And as Karrith and Razzik follow behind, and you guys both all get back to the guild in time. Eelix, you still walking through the rain unperturbed, being that you really pose no harm to them and them to you?
Pretty much. Just getting a lay of the land, the area, figuring out, like, looking at what people wear, what the people look like, because I need to come up with new disguises and faces.
Roll a disguise check.
I can do that. All right, die. Do your thing. 18 plus, because I have a really good disguise. 10. That's a 28.
And you passed my insanely high DC. Eelix, as you're wandering through, these people, if you can call them that, aren't quite right. They wear the forms of people, but you are so used to looking for flaws in what you do and how you're going. You see that those marks on their face, those tattooed patterns, are their own elemental energies peering through. These people are almost a hybrid between people and elemental. And with that,
okay, go on.
With that, you'll notice that, like, those who have like a water elemental affinity will have little scales on their skin that really aren't too terribly noticeable unless you're looking really hard at them. The people who have a lightning affinity will have little hair standing up on end that really shouldn't, and their hair is usually out of alignment in some sort of a way. And you'll even see little lightning trails coming through their skin. Those who are more earth aligned have very rough, patched bodies and usually have a bulkier form than the rest. Those that are fire aligned usually have very bronze, very heavily heated skin, as if they were both bronze and tan. Their hairs take on orange and reds and yellows. And their eyes, the whites of them, have red peering through all around that white area. Just little dots extra inside of their eyeballs. There are so many intricacies of them. But God damn it, if they don't think that you can mimic this shit, they don't fucking know who you are.
I'm going to mutter out a detect magic as well.
And as you detect magic, this entire land is brimming with natural flowing magic. So much that you can see the ley lines in the air. There is literal magic streams peering from the ground and crawling through every building, rippling from the sky in torrents. Magic flows so freely. And what's more, the people here, their magic is older than they look.
Okay. Are any of those ley lines like ground level, like somewhat near me? Like, do I have one that, like, if I wanted to, I could reach out and like put my hand through or something like that?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm gonna take the egg out that I've been pumping magic into every day since I figured that part out. I'm gonna hold it and I'm gonna kind of like put it so the ley line would go through it. And I'm gonna hold it there for a second and study it.
See, there you go. Lord, somebody uses it against me. It's fine. It's fine.
I mean, that's such a clever way to do it.
Your egg gains the immortal property.
Okay.
And it hatches.
Wow.
Being born into dawn, it is now ageless and immortal. Now, immortal doesn't mean it can't die. It just means it's not going to die of natural causes.
Yeah.
And as it hatches, you will see a small blob-like creature inside of your hand. It has a black belt that goes around its hips and its midsection. It has these black circular paddings that go around its arms. Its body is green and it's keeping a humanoid form, though very amorphous and alien. Like its head is almost snake-like in its appearance as it turns and looks at you with these globuled, blackened eyes. And you'll watch as it sees you, it begins to bubble and teeth begin to show, and it smiles, this flat-toothed smile, as it looks at you.
Do you speak? Or do I need to teach you?
I can speak. I'm good at speak.
Nice, nice. Do you know anything about what's going on from the egg, or are you just learning everything right now? Did you perceive anything before you were here?
I perceived what you perceived. You are akin to me, and I am yours.
And you even notice that the bow it takes on is a bow that you're familiar with. It's a half bow. An instance of I'm showing respect, but I don't kneel to you.
Yeah.
Something that you have never ever done. It's mimicking you.
Well, let's see. Well, you got a name, little one?
I have no name. I have spells. Can help.
Name is... gotta have a name. What would you like to be called?
How about Riftborn?
Driftbore.
Riftborn. As in, as in your last name, Riftwalker, but born of...
I can deal with that. Okay, that works. Riftborn. Okay. Riftborn works. We're going to talk about what spells you have here in a minute. But you know about the worms then, right?
Yes, I know worms.
So, all of this that we have going on around us, this is like worm food on steroids, pretty much, right? Like, we're not in a good position, are we?
No.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Magic doesn't stop worms. Oh, I can stop worms from you.
Well,
And you'll watch as he dissolves his form and becomes a glob, gloved on your hand.
Okay. So I can touch things with this hand and they won't get through, but what about the rest of me?
I do need to grow. But at least here I can protect. Worms cannot live in me.
Okay. All right. So I think we're going to be good partners here, Riftborn. But for the time being, I think it would be wise not to let the others know that you're around.
Okay.
And he crawls from your hand and up and into your body, and he'll just perch upon your shoulder, keeping that same gelatinous form.
Yeah. Can you do we need to speak, or do you have spells that let us hear each other's thoughts?
You'll hear in your mind,
No spells. Natural.
And I'm going to think back so you can hear me.
Yes.
Perfect.
But only what you wish me to hear.
I'm going to think I got a lovely bunch of coconuts.
Diddly-dee.
Okay, perfect. So we have elemental beings here, Rifty. We got the people, we got our companions are infested with worms that feed off of magic. We're in basically an open air buffet for them. And one wrong bump from a tavern keep away from, or waitress away from infesting a whole new side of a continent. Say that
Yeah.
That's about accurate.
Yes, it is. But the worms need a vessel. Without a vessel attuned to this land, they should not be a problem.
What do you mean a vessel attuned to this land?
The magic does not affect your friends the way it infects us born here. Those born can channel it naturally. Your friends will need to work for that. But if they manage to succeed, then yes, the arcane is not safe here.
Well, I think one of the first things we should do is maybe find. So, let me think here. Let me think. Were we correct in thinking that the ice from when we were in the one base with them was what neutralized them the first time? Was it the cold, or is it some other effect in that room?
I don't know. Unfortunately, I saw what you did. There was a burst of cold and death.
That's what I'm asking. I'm basically having a conversation with myself right now.
But the gnolls, they died, and the worms lived on. So maybe ice. But ice to death or just powerful ice? Unknown.
Okay, but you see all my memories. So if I can't remember something, there's a decent chance you might have that memory still.
I remember everything from when you were carrying me.
Okay, that's definitely going to come in handy. Well, I think the first thing we should go do is figure out what spells that you said that you had, discuss a partnership that works for both of us, because I don't own anybody or anything, and figure a way to handle the worm situation here in town, either by eliminating the worms or doing what we need to do to prevent the spread of them across a whole new landmass. Let's go, Rifty.
All right.
You don't mind if I call you Rifty, do you?
Not at all.
Perfect. Let's go, RB.
And as
Oh,
Eelix
RB.
as Eelix is outside having this conversation, Razzik, Nyphix, and Karrith wander through and into the Chimera. And you will see that this tavern is hopping significantly more than it was before. There are people who are currently trying their best to get out of the elements outside. I'm trying to find tavern music now, but they changed all the fucking music choices.
Yeah, I know.
Let me hold on a second. I might be able to save you the time. We need to go and turn in this quest stuff. Is this where we do that?
Yep.
Oh, okay, then never mind. I'm just basically gonna put my hood up and pull my hands inside my robe, and make sure my skin doesn't bump into anyone.
All right. And you have now clothed yourself as best as possible, trying to get yourself all squared away. There's so many buttons that are like so close to what I could use, and it's just like, nah. Playlist doesn't work. Genre buttons doesn't work. Home doesn't work. It is what it is. But you will see that Armand is currently working the register as he was before. A bunch of people sit in the tavern, drinking their meals, getting themselves squared away from the night and having themselves a good time. And Armand is, you go, friends, you've come home. You have what we need?
Indeed. I set down the thing with all the flowers in it.
Excellent.
This was a real bear of a time, I gotta tell you.
I like your jokes, friend. You'll do well here. And with that, I can welcome you all over to the Chimera. You've all learned your seals today.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Our tattooist is coming in the morning. We can set you up with your guild seals and get you all squared away. But until then, feel free to enjoy some meal and meat. And we'll have some beds prepared for you. So you can stay the night here and avoid the costly tavern prices.
That would be extremely welcome. Thank you.
No problem.
Would it be possible to have a bowl of hot water sent up to my room? Wash up. I've had bear saliva on me. It's not good.
Sure. I mean, the bath should be working fine. Unless you're a bit shy. They are communal.
No, beautiful. That's even better. I'm gonna go find a bath. Thank you.
Yes, no problem.
We'll square up with the reward on the back side of bathing.
And
Did I hear them say the bit about getting tattoos?
yes. You heard this before. This is what you were bargaining for. However, with your experience and who you are very aware of putting false skin on yourself.
No,
to get
I'm not worried about myself.
And yes, you're thinking properly too.
Yes, but okay.
Thinking over to RB, I'm like, the tattooist is going to get worms, aren't they?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because have you ever seen like a traditional Japanese tattooist? They don't really touch you.
Yeah, no, they have the
They
tap-tao
see the-
stick. I know what
Yeah,
tap-tao
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
If that's
That's
the
what I
method
like it.
they use here.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it is, but it is the most primitive method. And we have to assume that they don't have, like, a tattoo machine, because they wouldn't.
You'd be correct. Tattoo machines are prevalent in Austere. And there is somebody who's from Gildan who lives in Austere, but she wouldn't have brought that back. She's not that happy about it. She
would be pretty sad about it, actually.
Yeah. But Austere is probably one of the most technologically advanced places you would find, with the other part of this continent actually being the next part.
Okay.
But that's on the other side of the moon.
I could definitely imagine the elementals being involved in the tattooing.
I wonder if they...
Because it's a mix of a lot of elements that could potentially make the ink, and then making the scarring and the carterizing that makes these seals, correct?
Yeah. That's actually a pretty good guess.
Interesting.
Though, it's not an elemental per se. It's an elementalist, somebody who's proficient in all of the elements. Our tattoos for the skills actually have a bit of a better quality to them than most other guild tattoos you find. That's why we try to promote the Chimera. Our tattooist would be imbuing you with a tattoo that you can strength from. So, say that you wish a tattoo that holds the power over lightning, you'll be able to draw it from your tattoo, but not perfectly. Each tattoo is only really typically good for one charge, and then it would rest on the next day. Recharges with your natural aura and body. However, also remember, the tattoos recharge from the land of Gildan. So if you were to take these somewhere else and try to use them, you would have your charge that you had rested in it, but you'd need alter means to get it to charge again.
Right. Makes sense.
Okay. Thank you for the information.
No problem. And Razzik, as you begin heading across to the baths, you will step through a curtained area and see 6 people who are also seated in this communal bath. They're having chats, conversations. Can you make fucking more noise? How are you making that much noise in a box? What do you have in there?
It's a cat.
What are you doing?
They have everything.
They always get something.
But it's a rather large bath, like 30 feet by 50 feet. The waters are very pleasantly heated, and there is an aroma that wafts through here. Himalayan sea salt, as well as peppermint.
Being that it's communal, I will sit the furthest I can from someone, and I'm not going to relax too much. I'm just going to scrub up and bounce.
All right.
I'm going to make certain that no one comes too close, and if they start to get too close, I'm going to tell them to move back from me.
Okay. Roll stealth, just for funyuns.
I don't have stealth. I'm a wizard. I don't know why you make me do this thing. I'm going to fail.
Because if you by a little bit,
I mean, if you have good dexterity, you probably are good at it.
Yeah.
Even with my good dexterity, that's still a fucking 9. And I failed.
All right. And then secondly, roll me a charisma check. Not diplomacy, bluff, or intimidation, just pure charisma.
Pure charisma. Well, I gotta let you know that I got a 13. Because I don't have that either.
Okay.
Charisma's a dump stat.
So you hop into this bath and you give off this aura as you step in. You are noticed once you walk in here. It's kind of hard not to notice somebody walking through the door, and not being particularly stealthy, you will notice. You'll be noticed. But with the instance of you coming in and kind of this aura with that 13, I don't really want to be bothered. I just want to get cleaned and be cool. you're not approached by anybody.
Good.
They'll keep their distance and they maintain their conversations and having fun, but they definitely notice the new kid.
I'm listening to that conversation during my tenure there, seeing if there's any information that's worth knowing.
I'll give you a perception check in a bit, in which case, Karrith, what are you up to? And I'm going to go grab some books.
I think Karrith is going to try to leave the noise of the tavern for a little bit, the Chimera place, and try to settle a little bit outside. Was it getting close to night?
Yeah, it's getting pretty close to night, and you will still see the rain taking place and fish flying through. But you will also see Eelix walking to the tavern at this point. Or to the guild hall, I should say. Tavern. Yeah, I got you. Please don't. That pillow is not the whole chair. It's part of the chair.
Doing all right, Eelix?
I'm sorry?
You're approaching Karrith at this point, so...
Yeah. I thought I was already in the tavern.
We can.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna head in, eyeball the room a little bit.
Okay.
Find out where everybody's at, and look to see, since now I know what I'm looking for, I'm assuming I won't need to make any more checks for the elemental side of things that I noticed out on my walk.
That you did.
Is that the same case for everybody in here as well?
Most, not all.
Most. Okay.
You will also notice that the people who are not on that elemental side, their magic is aging at the same rate that they are. And taking a look at Armand, who's sitting at the bar, Armand comes around like 28, 32 in age. His magic is easily hundreds of years old.
Yeah. What do I want to do? I'm going to go have a seat near Karrith, but, you know, my typical put a seat between everybody type situation because I ain't getting worms.
So you saw Karrith leave the bar at the same time you were...
Okay.
So you're going to head back out and...
I'll turn around and... Dude, do I want to do that? God, I'm going to start pissing people off here. I'm going to head up over to Armand.
All right. You'll see he's currently playing with some papers and setting up for next quests. He's setting up all the next days to go, and you will see menu boards for what he's planning on getting in tomorrow.
Okay. And menu boards are the quest boards, right?
Menu boards are food boards.
Okay, so legitimate menu boards. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to casually just... God, I'm going to do this as casually. I don't know how actually to word it in character. But I'm just going to super casually say something along the lines of, you know, I've noticed most people around here appear to be really old souls. A bit of charm to the town.
It does give us a bit of a laid-back feel here.
Yeah. So, one thing that I really would like to find while I'm here, is your most knowledgeable sage when it comes to medicine and magic, and the application of the two combined, medicinal magic.
That's a bit of a hard conversation. I don't really find that there's one particular person that's versed in everything. Although there is a visitor coming to town tomorrow. If you're interested in foreign healing, they might be the best source for it. And as for the magician who's coming along with them, they are the Magus Arcanum from the land of Austere. The Magus Arcanist.
I'm going to think to Arby, and I'm going to be like, what do you think? Should I press the age?
I am indifferent on this, but it could help with disguises.
All right. Because usually when I'm going to be thinking Arby, basically, I already know, like, for the most part, it's basically just me talking to myself, right?
Yes and no.
Yeah,
it's
yes and no. Right. But for me, like for Eelix, like a lot of it's going to be like past stuff is going to be basically me talking to myself, but it can give me a different angle on things as well. So I'm gonna assume that that's something that I would have thought. Like, yeah, you're indifferent. I'm pretty indifferent. I don't want to be that guy because I just got here. But for somebody who's been around as long as you have, you might think that you might have maybe 1 or 2 local contacts for medicinal magic. Somebody in town must have studied it at some point in time.
Well, if you're looking for the best of the best in local, then you probably want to start previewing the castle. Though the castle itself is a bit hard to get into. Of course, the person who's coming to town could also assist you with that. Austere's Magus Arcanist also happens to be the ex-runaway princess for the castle.
It does sound like a good angle.
Although she has a huge temper, so it's on you if you wish to deal with something like that.
Understood. So, this tattooing process, what is it like?
We have a sage who comes in, an elementalist. And once you have the tattoo element that you wish, that you want to be what channels into your body, then they simply channel their energy, place one finger on you, and it's done. The energy will rip your body and will also tattoo you at the same time.
So they do have to touch to put the tattoo on.
Mostly to my knowledge, yes. Though I've never had anybody ask them to not touch. Do you have some sort of a phobia?
And we're about to be.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going to say, sorry, guys. I'm going to piss a lot of people off. So I'll be very honest with you. I was wandering around town, and I noticed that not everything is as it appears here. Like I said, somebody as old as you are, I mean, you don't look a day over 100, for instance. But let's just say the reason I'm looking for medicinal magic is that there might be a issue from across the sea that would definitely require some sort of healing. Now, it's parasitic in nature. We ran into it at a prison. There was this inmate there. His name was Cork. And pretty much everybody he touched got infected with these worms. Now, the worms themselves don't seem to be causing any kind of harm to the hosts, nor are they exhibiting any kind of magical control over them, but there is an infestation. We found, at least from what I'm able to piece together from what happened inside one of our during one of our other attempts to escape, that intense cold had a hugely negative effect on them. Actually cleansed a body of them for a time period, for a time being. That person was indeed reinfected at a later point, but they were cured for a while. So, but that being said, the other thing, and cut me off here, but I believe that Eelix was told that the magic feeds these things. Like, they love magic from when we rescued Nyphix.
They do.
The main issue is, though, is this place is just a magical buffet. You have ley lines running up and down the streets, through the air, in the buildings, and through each and every one of the elementals that walk down the streets and tend bar and hand out guild quests, for instance. This is the middle of an all-you-can-eat buffet for these things. So I'm looking for a cure.
I see. A cure for an ancient illness. An ancient parasite. I'm not sure if there's going to be anybody who would be able to help you with something like that, unfortunately. I mean, depends on how invasive the parasite is. If it's only like, say, a worm, a tapeworm, we can probably have it extricated. But if it's fully through the body, you might need separate means. You said cold kills it.
To my knowledge, cold. It was either the cold or the massive burst of magic that did it. Either the cold did it, or it was so overfed in one shot that their stomachs burst, so to speak.
You see. Well, that is troubling. I do hope that Esil holds it out, but as far as it's concerned, might be something we'd want to bring to the Regency, have them prepare for it. It's not too terribly far from here. That is, unless there's some personal stake that you have finding this issue.
I'm not infected. So.
But you didn't say your friends.
I didn't say they weren't either. I don't have confirmation on that at the moment. But a cure would definitely be... We've all been exposed at one point or another. I can get by without being infected. And I'm going to think to Arby, and I'm going to have him do the little slither across my hand and slither back. And I'm not without my talents. But my companions aren't as adept at the same things I am.
I see. Then perhaps it would behoove you all to take a trip to the Elemental Temple. It's an old ruin that we use typically for coming-of-age ceremonies for our more talented casters, warriors, people of the cloth. I don't know how you all will take it, however. It very well could kill you. But it's also a possibility that you'll find your answer in there. If extreme cold will do it, getting into the chambers of ice might behoove you.
That makes sense. Is it just intensely cold in there, or is there a burst? Is it filled with magic?
Yes.
Yes. It's both. That
Intense magic, chilling cold, the Guardians, traps galore.
Is this someplace we could just walk into with the priesthood, or is it one of those places that we're going to have to fight our way through the front door into the chambers we need to be in?
If you fight your way in, I guarantee you when you come out, you will not be friends of this town.
Perfect. So it's not a dungeon full of monsters.
There are very much monsters in there. They live there.
But they're not going to be hostile just by us showing up.
You need special permission to go inside.
How do we get
You
there?
are entering into a biome that houses these creatures. Once you do, you are a foreign agent inside their home. They will be as hostile to you as they are outside.
And how do we get that permission?
The Regency would be one way. Finding a way through the Temple of the Cloth would be another. Not through the Temple of Shaylin. Shaylin is also the Guardians who make sure that life stays flourishing. So they would probably be your best bet if you're going in there with an attempt to cause as little damage as possible.
Is there any way or anyone that could serve as a guide so we don't have to fight our way through? Things won't be hostile with a guide, for instance.
Even guides are not safe inside those tomes. There are artifacts that can be used to help maneuver around. Those are sacred artifacts that I don't think they're going to be willing to part with easily. Nothing to say you can't earn your favor with the church and see if they'll
Let us borrow it.
let you borrow it, of course. However, if that's the case, you might want to forsake these guild seals.
Yeah, I'm gonna suggest that you don't have anybody touch my companions for the time being.
If they see you marked as guild rats, they will absolutely be against you going into their homes. Be sure they will check.
So they have to not have the tattoo, correct?
Not have any tattoo from any guild.
Ah, shit. We're gonna have to cut off their other ones. Not a problem for me. All right. I'm gonna ask him for that information on how to get to that church and who to talk to there. Also, how the best way to get a hold of somebody, well, I know the Regency. That's what the person who's coming in the next couple days. So the church. Where is it and who should I talk to?
The Temple of Shaylin sits right outside of the Temple of Elements. You'll know it as it is one of the tallest buildings in the town. It has leaves and foliage that pour over. The floor is unbound there, and if you go out in this rain right, you see it's swarming in fish. Animals are drawn there, so honestly, your one companion would probably find it fairly easily.
Okay.
As you see, Nyphix is nowhere in the bar. She headed upstairs at this point.
Yeah. Last thing I'm going to ask him. Do you have a razor for shaving? Straight razor.
Plenty.
Could I have one?
You need... Sure. It'll be where your friend went, down the communal baths.
Okay. So, thank you.
You sick dog.
Huh?
I was just joking. I was like, you sick dog.
So I'm gonna thank him. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna go get a razor.
Okay.
And then my next trip is going to be immediately to Karrith.
You're the fucking luck, bud. Oh, shit.
Oh, boy.
You know, I think I heard Sweet Mama turn over in the hospital bed where she's currently joined.
Yeah, it's like something just happened.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's gonna love the update for this one.
Okay.
All right.
Every time I'm gone, these motherfuckers.
Why do you play this way?
All right. Hey, I'm a nice guy. All right, so I'm gonna grab that razor blade. I'm talking like an old fat, like the flip out straight razor, like shady thing, right?
Straight up Three Stooges.
Yeah, like fucking Sweeney Todd freaking razor blade here. And I'm gonna go find Karrith. And I'm gonna
As you wander into the changing room, you'll see that Razzik has finished his shower, and he's putting his clothes back on.
Before I put my clothes back on, prestidigitation.
All right.
Spare saliva.
Oh, I thought we were going for the longer penis, but all right. Emotion, I was like,
it was any longer
just
than fucking in myself.
Let me just roll it out.
Yeah. You know what? We ought to get smart and we ought to keep it on one of them wheels where you roll it up, you know? Save time.
although funny story, somewhat related. They my one party in Solgard found a machine that was used for enhancements that they were using on kobolds that were used for a fighting pit. And originally this was like an arena-based thing. You can buy a kobold, throw it in the arena. It was very inhumane. And one of the players, as they were disestablishing this, saw the machine and saw a pile of kobold coins, which is how you enhanced your kobold. And he sat there and looked at the machine, looked at his penis, looked at the machine, looked at his penis. And then he went,
I mean,
is there anywhere that sells wheelbarrows in this town? I just need to know.
you know, of all the things I thought you were going to say, wheelbarrow was not one of them.
Like asking for a friend. I think I need some enhancements. I need to get these emails to stop.
I need them to be wanting the emails from me.
They're going to be like, sir, you need ID to get into this bar. Yeah, I got you.
Right this way.
Razzik is
How tough are you?
The saliva off of his clothes. And you see a pile of straight razors sitting in cups for people to shave.
Yep. So, whoop. Taking that. And be like, I'll come back for you later.
You see Razzik's just like, I feel insulted. Was it the hostage thing? Are you still mad about it?
Is something wrong?
Eelix is upset about that because that put a target on his back and made him memorable. Like that's the one thing. Like, how often does Eelix actually kill people? Not very often. Like he knocks them out and runs away.
One of these days, I'm gonna have an opportunity to do something genuinely horrific, and I'm gonna fucking do it just to see you guys have to react to it. You look at Nate.
Anyway,
Nate, that's funny look. Genuinely horrific, Nate.
Yeah, you say horrific, but then I'm like, can we take the F and make it heroic?
No.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Nope. I've been called a lot of things. Hero is not one of those things.
We'll see what happens with the Eelix thing, and then we'll see which one's horrific. We'll have a tally. When Sweet Mama comes back, she will be like, what was more
I'm likely
up?
to save you, though, yes. Because occasionally, even Shrek saved people. Who knew?
So,
right.
Right.
Who knew beating up the biggest baddie in the room saved them?
Yeah, well, when we were in that fucking moon dungeon,
Yeah.
there were elves, and I was helping them out.
Mm-hmm.
So
But I saved all those cultists from being enslaved in a cult by eating them. That worked out perfectly for me and them. They weren't in a cult anymore, and I'm full.
all right. So with that, Razzik, you come out of the bathroom, getting your towels on, getting sorted out, and you will be being waved over by the barmaid who's sitting at the bar, and she places a drink down on the counter. She starts helping other people. She very clearly points to the drink, as in yours. It's a drink that almost looks like a milkshake from far away. It's creamy. almost like a milky brown in consistency.
I finish getting dressed, and then pull my hands and whatnot back, and pull my hood back up, and walk over to the bar, and I pick it up and sniff it.
You get hints of whiskey, orange syrup, milk, and cumin.
I cast
I would
detect
drink that.
magic on it. I don't trust it.
It is. You are right to do that because the smell it's giving you is very similar to a potion, and that potion happens to be a potion of giant size. However, this drink is not magical. It smells like
Interesting. I was gonna be like, if I gotta go back in the communal bath with a potion of giant size, everyone else is gonna have to leave. They're gonna be too embarrassed.
But-
So after making sure, I will keep the detect magic going and just look around the room as I take a very small sip.
And as you put the detect magic on, you are sitting right next to a ley line as it's passing by. This effervescent cerulean blue glow passes by you, and you will watch that almost like a glistening effect coming off of it as it's moving. Everybody in this room has some form of magic within them. You will see the ley lines with bodies from those tattoos that they all share. The air itself even has a magic essence to it, almost permeating from the land itself, from every instance around here, to the bar, the chair that you're sitting on, the floor. And though the drink is not magical, you can tell this because, well, the magical aura around you, you can tell it's diminished magic state because of it. Even the bartender, as she comes back, she has air magic that wisps as she's moving off of her. It doesn't even seem she's casting a spell. It just seems that that's drifting off her as she's moving.
As she comes back, I'm like, "Thank you for the beverage."
Not a
But,
problem. The guild's
I
getting
didn't-
good enough time for a potion of giant size.
Yes, well, one must be careful. It's a strange world we live in. Just out of curiosity, what made you think I wanted a drink?
You only remember it's a part of the drink. I mean, if you don't partake in alcohol, by all means, I can back for you.
Oh, no, it's quite delicious and delightful, but I was just curious why.
First one's on the house. It's a welcome to the family.
Well, I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Do you mind if I sip this in my room?
Oh, absolutely. Take it wherever you please. Just don't make a mess.
I put a gold coin on the counter and say thank you very much.
If anybody wants to make a potion of giant size, it's 5 ounces of any milk of your choosing, 2 ounces of whiskey, 1 ounce of simple syrup, whatever flavor of your choosing, and 1/4 teaspoon of cumin.
Sounds delightful.
And you begin to head up to your room, and you will see that there's already 2 rooms set up for newbies. There's one that just simply has the plated name of Nyphix on it, and then one that has the names of Eelix, Karrith, and Octavius on it.
I guess I'll go on the door that doesn't have Nyphix in it.
And as you wander in, you will see the 3 beds that are posted up. Even this room, it's not real gemstoned crystals, but like the beds look like they are made out of jade. It's not. It's very much a stain that's on the wood. The wood itself, as you start to take a peer over, move the bed sheets, it's cherry wood. So it gives like a little bit of a reddish hue that goes around the side. And there's plants in the room. They are decorated out in blue, red, and gold inside of a ruby vase. Also, just simply glass blown and glazed. It's not an actual gemstone. And everything just feels elegant. And then as you to head over to the window, where this room is stationed, it shouldn't have a window. You're in the middle of the fucking building.
I assume magic to play here.
And you would be right. The window is indeed magical.
Is there a ley line present in this room?
As a current, a curtain currently going across, see the magical aura around it. And there is a ley line going in this room. It is a 1/4 inch through the floor next to one of the beds.
I sit down
right back out.
I sit down on the floor next to the part where it's coming up. I pull out my spell book and I read the incantation on the front and change the magic to cold, and then just try to pull the magic from the floor up and just totally freeze this room.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a use magic device check.
Nobody gets use magic device. But I still got a 6. Okay. Nat 20.
Nice.
That's a 26.
All right. So we will come back.
Insane.
We'll come back to you in a swift second. And with that, Karrith,
In the freezer.
you've been standing outside for a while now, and you're just kind of watching the town go by, taking your time to not get wormed too much. Strange, even though there is an envoy coming to town and you don't know, Eelix knows that, there is no extra presence, no fanfare, no nothing there. It just looks like a normal day in Gildan Hood. There are people who are honestly just having fun watching the fish swim by. You will see that there is one child who is wandering over to big piles of fish and is moving their hands and trying to gather as much fish as they can, creating a torrent from the rain, and is now trying to create a herd of fish that they're having follow them as the fish are just swimming along this water, this little in-air river that is going through. And you'll watch as the kid is moving his hands. They start out very human-like, and then they blend into water. Human-like, and he moves it again. It's very much like a ballet in how they're going about. And you see a building that is sitting off in the distance, probably a good 2 miles away. And that building is so large and imposing, even though it is 2 miles away, perfectly clear in view. And you will see there are fish that are just swimming around this spire. The spire itself is made of white and green. It reaches up towards the sky, and there is an elemental crystal that sits at the top. You'll watch it radiating different colors, but from this distance, it all seems yellow. And you do see this school of fish that is just pooling around it. There is foliage coming down all over the sides, coming through the windows, all different flowers of all different shapes and sizes. And what's more is one of the fish, like a herd of fish, bump into the tree, and you'll watch this disgruntled tree get up and move and then sit back down. You've been sitting out here for a while. Is there anything you'd particularly like to do while you're hanging out?
I think as he was sitting there, he just tried to find him a place to sit down, and he was just taking in the scenery without trying to think of anything else. Everything has just been overwhelming, so he's just trying to live in this moment. And just from what was described, it feels in some strange way calm yet whimsical. And it is strange that nothing is as it seems to some extent, and I guess it does make him think about that dream.
And as you're having this thought and you're finding yourself inside of this state, you'll hear the door open and out walks Eelix.
Couldn't deal with the noise inside.
It was a bit noisy, but I actually came out here to deal with another thing. How are those worms treating you?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I thought I dealt with them in my own way, but I realized after all these things happened, it just feels like there's no getting away.
So, you'll agree that you can't keep them, right? And that we are one bad day away from infecting the entire country here.
That's what I started thinking about when those fish started just swimming within the air. I don't know what we could potentially affect or hurt.
All it took was one touch for you and Nyphix to both get infected, and same thing with Razzik. One stupid little mistake.
Yeah. It was.
So here's the deal, buddy. I'm just going to be very, very honest with you. I want you to think really carefully about what I'm going to say here, and it's probably going to upset you.
He kind of already turned to you with like a raised brow as soon as you said buddy.
Yeah. It's probably going to upset you. I'm not going to lie. This is going to be really hard to hear, probably more difficult to understand. But I can't allow an entire country to be infested with these worms, and just because somebody was careless. That's something I can't allow that, especially when it's something that we could possibly prevent.
Yeah.
So I did what I always do. I went out and I gathered information. And we remember that we were able to remove them from the body in that one area. I can't remember. Was it the temple? Was it a temple or was it a like an underground keep? Spike, where I brought the gnolls.
It was an underground ruin.
Okay. If you remember, in the ruin, there was that machine that hit you guys with that intense burst of ice and magic all at once. And it cleansed the worms. They were gone.
Yeah, the one Nyphix got caught in. Yeah.
Yeah. They were cured. No worms till they touched you again. So
something happened to Nyphix too. It was as if she was rotting from the inside. Something else was happening to her, so I don't know what problem occurred from that. I don't know if that's truly the cure. I just think that's
noted.
The equivalent of like a dagger to one's throat. It's an easy way out, but it's not the right way.
But it's the best lead we have at the moment. Cold or intense magical bursts. The best lead we have. It's a good starting point at the very least. All medicine has to start somewhere. And while that, like you said, may not be the best solution, it's also at least a bit of valid information that could be built upon. We could start there and move forward. Kind of like you say, you drink too much wine at night, you wake up with a massive headache. Don't drink as much wine at night, and you won't get as bad of a headache. The ice, maybe the application was wrong. Maybe it was too intense. Maybe whatever. It's a good place to start at least exploring the possibility of a cure. And there is a place here in town. which I don't know if you actually, I know you can't see it. This whole town is a magical smorgasbord. There are ley lines up and down the roads. In fact, the people here themselves, they're not exactly people. I mean, yeah, they walk around on two legs. They look like people, but that one over there is probably closer to 150 years old, even though they only look like they're 16. And what do these worms love to eat? Magic. Imagine one of these things gets infested.
That's why I was worried when we first arrived here.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw the elementals at all the columns in the towers, I immediately felt like we needed to leave.
Well, so here's the thing. We can leave. We definitely leave and try and figure out go to a different place and figure out a cure, because that honestly should be the top priority right now. Everything else is secondary to that, because again, we don't want to be infecting massive populations with this parasite. Not something I can allow to happen.
Right.
So we could leave, but if we're going to stay, I was able to get some information on a local temple. And this temple is elemental in nature and highly magical. And there is a room in there that is a deep freeze, so to speak. Based on the elements, it's very cold. But the whole place is also really full of magic. So, and they know medicinal, they know a bit about medicinal magic as well. A decent amount of it. But here's the rub. They don't let anybody with guild seals through the doors.
Okay, so then we just don't show them.
They're not just gonna. They're not gonna just like take your word for it, and not look. So, and this is where the part where you're gonna say it's gonna be really hard for you to swallow, and it's gonna really piss you off. But I want you to really think back to who, at every step of the way since day one when you showed up, had the right idea, the right action, and how every time somebody who didn't listen to me did something and caused everything to go to pot and death, destruction, and infestation of parasites. And I'm just gonna like hold out I'm gonna have Arby slither down my hand. I'm gonna grab the straight razor out of my pocket and I'm gonna be like, the smartest thing to do would be to get rid of that tattoo that you got on there, and that Razzik's got on there, and that Nyphix has got on there. We go there, we get help to rid you of the parasite and all the others, so we don't infect an entire population with them.
And your thought is to spill my blood with it.
If I had one, I would have already carved it off. How long have we been at this thing? Weeks now?
About a week.
About a week. Okay, so it's only been about a week. I would have carved it off before, like in the prison cell or shortly after we got out. Which, let me remind you, if you guys just would have listened to me there, nobody would be infested with parasites. Nobody would have died in the prison.
Listen, Eelix.
And we would have gotten out.
Is this what you came out to talk about?
Stopping 3 people from infecting an entire population with a parasite after a barmaid who's
Things
a little
that
tipsy
happened a
bumped
week
into you.
ago that we can't. Things that happened a week ago that we can't change.
No, you can't change it. Change a week ago, but we can change what happens today, moving forward.
There's a hole in that logic, though. If you do that, and if this place is just as important as you are saying it is, then merely my blood being dropped here was enough.
I didn't say do it here in the street. It has to be somewhere where, yeah, we can burn the blood so it doesn't infect the area. But plain and simple, this is the plan I have. If you have a better plan that you can guarantee that you're not going to get an entire town infected here. And like I said, we can leave, because probably the smartest thing to do would be get out of the area that is, you know, just an open air buffet for these things. And in a crowded tavern like that, do you really want to be trying to steer through without touching someone? To get up to your room?
So I think you talk to Razzik first.
Oh, no. No. They're still on my shit list for getting that one face completely well known in town by taking a hostage. That was... I can't... We can never go back. I can't go back there. The heat's on. They're not going to forget that. It's not like I just knocked them out, stole some money, and left. That's serious heat now. And by the way, Danielle and Blondie are very mad for what I had to do in the forest to make sure you guys didn't get eaten by bears.
I did a time check, by the way. It's been a month. This entire campaign has been so far.
Okay.
I missed what you said, Karrith.
I was just merely saying, like, those two women, you knew them?
They were hired. They were from the prison, and yeah, I hired them on because after that plan went to pot, and I can't remember which plan it was, and Nyphix got it, you know, taken hostage, like, you know, captured. That plan went to hell. I went out, spent the last of my money getting the scrolls to bring in the muscle to get them out of prison. And if we just would have ran after that...
I mean, we technically did. We technically tried.
Yeah. We didn't run fast
It
enough.
wasn't our fault that we just... As fast as that courage led us.
Yeah. But... So, yeah. No, not really. Hired in a roundabout way. So, I think, I'm just saying, like, the smartest move now would be to, one, stop trying to resurrect a guild that doesn't exist, can't exist, and is going to do nothing but bring death and destruction. And, I mean, how many times have you almost died trying to preserve a guild name? And go through this, try and get a cure out of these sages and elementalists and healers. Maybe the cold will work. Maybe the intense magic will work. Maybe it'll cause you some damage. Maybe it won't, but we won't be infecting everybody we see with a parasite, and who knows what the long-term effects on you guys are anyway. Or we leave. We go somewhere else, and we make that our top priority instead of chasing down Malik and all the other people. Because
I think Karrith in that moment, he said a couple key words that I don't think Karrith ever thought about. He lost so many of those people in there, and you just said you can't resurrect them, but yet these worms have been doing just that.
does he say the worms are doing just that?
I think that's the recollection. As soon as you said resurrect, he's like, the worms are just doing that.
Did I hear that, or is that just something you were thinking?
That's something he says after you said
Okay.
the resurrection part. The worms are just doing that.
Just doing what?
It's I could bring them back. I could bring Captain Vickers back.
You're no priest. And you're no mage.
No. Listen to me. If the worms are doing that and we're able to get rid of them, like you were just saying, what if we did resurrect the Tree of Ravens? What if we brought our people back and then got rid of the worms?
Eelix is just gonna sit there and just like stare at you.
Okay.
Not with like a dumbfounded like, oh my god, you just hit me with something I never thought of before. It's more of like a seriously, that's your comeback? Like, let's go cast Resurrection and like then get rid of the worms?
Well,
it's gonna be that look. It's not even a thing that he's gonna say. He's just gonna give you the really that's your comeback.
But
to that?
his mind is just thinking about how you said that, and he's like that. Like, you're right. We could truly change a lot of what we did in the past month.
Time travel.
Nyphix is already in control of them.
She's in control of the worms.
Yes.
Okay.
Listen. She found some way to harness them, and somehow they were trying to control me. So, in her capability of controlling them, we could use this.
I'm gonna think to Arby. Hey Arby, can you make your face like pop out of my forehead and look like somebody from my memory?
Hold on, I'll check and see if that's a spell.
And sound like somebody from my memory?
This is extraordinarily entertaining. But to be sitting right there where I could just make hilarious laughter noises at the sounds of you two thinking. Sitting up here near an open window, and I suddenly smell brain cells burning. What is that?
Yeah, actually, to a degree.
To a degree.
Yeah. Oh, I'm well aware. Well aware. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Arby. Arby can, to a degree, do that. He has those spells.
What spells are those spells?
Alter Self and Mimicry.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Although he would be using Mimicry and...
You're gonna really make me do this. All right. If your plan is to try and use the worms that you say that you and Nyphix are now in control of, that we definitely saw.
She is.
Right. But Cork and Smiler, if you remember Smiley, it was very apparent that Cork was in control of Smiley, even though Smiley and Neil as well appeared to be fully in control of themselves. So is it the worm speaking, or is it really Nyphix speaking at that point? And while he's thinking, because he's that's definitely Karrith thinking, I'm gonna think to Arby, and I'm gonna be like, get ready to make Vickers' face pop out of my forehead just a little bit, slime your way out there, and say, "Don't be irresponsible, boy," and slither back after that. I'll give you the cue.
All right.
Money. That's all I got.
do you think Nyphix is already gone? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just said, are you sure that that's Nyphix speaking and not the worms? We do know the worms do have the ability to control, and it's really not the 100% wisest thing to just assume that we are better than everybody else that ever got infected by these things. That's why a cure should be the first thing we pursue. And honestly, the fact that people are being resistant to trying to find the cure for this and trying to prioritize other things kind of leads me to believe that maybe the worms are having a little bit more of a tug on you than you probably realize.
It just didn't quite click until you said that. But I know it's a crazy thought. It would make sense to do that, though. See, when I went unconscious recently, I had this odd dream. This cold, void hound thing was speaking to me. Did I ever tell you about me ingesting their blood?
I'm going to think back to Arby. Did he?
No, you were not present for that, so he did, and that never came up in conversation.
No.
There was these things down in the dungeon, down in that ruins where we were fighting all those things, and the frost room you're speaking of. I had this thought that if I consumed these blizzard ice hound's blood, that it would control or at least nullify what these worms were trying to do. Do you think, in the midst of what you're talking about with finding a cure, do you think that's it? I know I gave it to Jezza already. God, Jezza.
And Eelix, that name rings a bell for you. You know Jezza. She was one of the dealers who you were.
Yeah.
God, I hope she's okay. Point is, it did something to nullify them a little bit in me. Now, granted, I have had bouts, but it's at such a slow pace that maybe there is a way to concentrate that to make it work.
So either way, you're saying ice elemental beast blood might be one of the things. So here's the deal about this place that I'm telling you. There are beasts inside this temple, and they're not going to be friendly. So it's not going to be safe. So there's probably going to be ice elemental blood in there that we are going to be able to get our hands on if we go in. Now, if we go in and you're tagged, we're going to piss off this entire town of centuries-old elemental magical beings. Whereas if you don't got that little thing on your arm, they'll may give us access to the temple, and we may even be able to get access to a relic or something that they have in their possession. I wasn't able to get the exact nature of it. That would make our trip through it safer. But they're not going to let in a chimera, a raven, a trout, or a rat. So even going on your logic, using exactly what you said, okay, let's not blast you with a bunch of ice and magic because it might hurt a little bit. And let's go get ourselves some elemental ice blood. Same place. And the more you tell me you don't want to do it, the more to me it sounds like the worms are telling you what to do and not you. And that's when I'm going to kick Arby, like set the thought now on Arby. I'm like, okay, now do it.
And you'll see formulating from Eelix's forehead the face of Captain Vickers before he goes, "Don't be irresponsible, boy." And then he goes back in.
Yeah, it's like a projection out. It's not like my face altered, so it's not like my normal, like, oh, I pulled a disguise trick on you. It's like almost like from the movie The Abyss with like the water beings.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm kind of seeing that. So
I like the movie. Good.
Mm-hmm. What was that?
What was what?
Bluff versus sense motive, please.
You said sense motive?
Yep.
That's 15.
Oh, do I have to do this too?
Yep, you're rolling the bluff.
You're good at bluff, so you may get this.
Get mad.
No whammy, no whammy, no whammy.
That motherfucking 20. There's that pesky devil again.
That is a nat 20 on a bluff. Bluff feint or just bluff?
It would just be
Feint is a combat maneuver.
yeah,
Okay.
feint is a combat maneuver, so it's just gonna be bluff.
31.
And with that, Karrith, Eelix seems genuine in what he said, as all this rain is beating off of his body. Maybe it was a spirit coming out of the rain and just empowering Eelix's will. Maybe it was a manifestation of your own thoughts. It has been a while since you've slept, so, popping into the first sleep, but it seems just weird. But that
Yeah.
is genuine.
I thought I just... You probably wouldn't believe me anyway.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Think about it. You're not stupid. Neither's Nyphix. Pretty sure Razzik isn't either. Sleep on it. Let's talk as a group in the morning because I think it's our best move. And again, think back on how often was I wrong? How often am I wrong?
You were wrong about one thing. My raven tattoo is a wing on my back.
Somebody's gonna have to cut it. Maybe. Burn it. I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna tell him on that one. I gotta think of something there.
You hear from upstairs, I'll do it.
Yeah. No, I didn't say that to him. I didn't say that to him. Like, okay, so I didn't. So what I'll say is, I didn't watch where they put your tattoo, and but I also never claimed exactly to know where it was either. So, not exactly wrong.
You did say arm.
Oh, I did,
Okay.
didn't I?
Go ahead and take that loss.
I'll take that loss. I'll take that loss because I did say that. Well,
You're right. You're right, Eelix. I haven't been able to think straight for the past weeks.
all right. Well, you think about that. I'm gonna go get some sleep.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
Does Sarvoth ring a bell for you?
Okay, player-wise, I'm not remembering that. Spike, help me out here.
I can't, unfortunately. Your background would not have you knowledgeable about that name.
Okay, so that's something my character doesn't know. That's what I'm asking. Like, is that something I just forgot, or is that like something I knew as a player up to this point?
No, that is something in my world.
Okay, so yeah, that's something I just don't know. Okay, perfect. I just didn't know if that was like, hey, we did this like 7 sessions ago and I just forgot about it. Yeah, no, I'll look over my shoulder and be like, not familiar at all.
Oh, it was worth a shot.
Anyway, I'm going to kind of wave off and head back, and I'm going to lock myself in my room, and I'm going to have that conversation with Arby.
Just to remind you, your room is also Razzik. You're going to be in on
That's right.
on whatever he's doing.
God damn it.
And has been doing for quite some time.
I'm going to have to go somewhere else. I'm going to go I'm just going to wander town and have the conversation with Arby then about his exact capabilities.
No, you can't do that. You have to go upstairs and find out what I'm doing first.
Why do I need to do that? I don't need to do shit.
Because you don't know.
I don't care what you're doing.
So that's metagaming.
You're more than fine to just wander the town.
I forgot that we were sharing a room. I thought that I had my own room. I forgot about that. It's been 2 weeks.
I could also totally see you wandering up at the nameplate and going, nah, and then walking away.
It's like I'm the purpose is to go have this conversation in private because I don't want anybody to know about Arby. So even if I did get up there, like Spike said, and I saw the nameplate and it's a shared room, nope, can't have this conversation in front of anybody yet. Arby's a secret. I'm not revealing Arby just yet. Arby, maybe later. I need to know exactly what I can do with this and what it can do without me is the other side. So yeah, we're gonna go have that conversation with Arby. So I will release my position here at the table for other people.
All right. So it looks like it's down to a showdown, but I'm going to put the camera on Karrith for a bit to find out where he goes after that conversation happens, what he does after the conversation happens. As you see Eelix walk off and into the... A koi passes between you two as an imaginary wall of separation. Just an obnoxiously large fish.
I think he scratches a little bit at where the tattoo is on his back. Thinking about it when he first had it, and he just really thinks about that thought and what Eelix said. Why was that the first thought that came to mind? Pull them all back. Would that even fix all the wrongs? And he sits and ponders this throughout the night until his eyes grow heavy.
All right, hanging outside or heading in?
Okay. He'll just staying outside.
Okay. So, Razzik, back to you.
Sure.
You touch this ley line and you begin to think and channel the books you've read, the things you've done. It's not easy. It's really difficult. And you're wondering why you're having such a hard time. Eventually, you release. And as you release all the tension that's in your body, you feel the ley line enter you. And in the same instance, the book shatters and becomes a golden glow. That golden glow begins to solidify and become ice, and then it retreats into your body. You see the fissures of the ice raging up your arm, unable to move as the ice is now coursing through your veins. You feel it going through your chest like a menthol breeze. You exhale and smoke comes out of your mouth, that breathy winter air. And you sit there heaving the breath as it's coming through. You feel your hair fall against your body, and you can see the hair as it's falling in your face, taking on icy perspectives. And as you sit there struggling against it, you pull your hand from the ley line and feel all of this cold pull back out of your body, and the book reappears once more and hits the floor. And as you sit there looking at what happened, you take a look at your hands, and running up your wrists and to your fingertips on either your left or your right hand, are spears of ice.
Interesting. I cast Detect Magic. And then I take a good look at me. Are there worms inside?
As you cast Detect Magic and you look, there are not worms inside of you.
Yes.
A nat 20 is the only thing that stopped that ley line from.
I'm sorry, you cut out. Say it again.
A nat 20 was the only thing that stopped that ley line becoming polluted. It gave you a new spell, as I sent to you. I also modified it. I forgot to put +int at the back of it.
Oh, okay. I'll put it in there.
And by the way, for all of you, have when you do accept a homebrew power like I gave to Death and Duality, I'm gonna have there's a little homebrew section. I'll just be putting your shit in the homebrew section underneath what it sets by.
Okay.
This way you know what's going on.
All right, I added the +int.
But with that, I am going to remove the wormed tag from Razzik. You sit there contemplating what just happened. It is fascinating. And you're not sure if you can pull that the fuck off again. That was an accident by any form of nature, and who knows how it will change you again. But goddamn, you felt real fucking close to death. It was you feeling your body. The feeling that your body had was being submerged in a sub-zero water and trying to breathe.
Cool. If it should happen again in the future, I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to let it happen.
Okay.
I'm going to essentially pull myself, my consciousness back and be an observer as to what is happening to the body.
I shall keep that in mind. But all right.
Beautiful. Now, for what I really wanted to do, now that I'm free of worms, I intend to put my mouth on that ley line and drink it.
You do find that drinking it is impossible. It is a stream of magic and is one with the world. You can tap into it, but you cannot consume it. And unfortunately, not being homegrown Gildan.
Damn.
Sometimes you just gotta appreciate those 20s.
Yeah, man. A natural 20 is a beautiful thing. It will snatch victory from the jaws of defeat.
I love when they want to tell a story, and mine was to die right outside of a cart.
Mine, on the other hand, pulled me back from Wormville.
Yep. Crazy.
At any rate, since I got a room to myself, I'll take the bed closest to the window. The magic window that shouldn't be there.
And you walk over to the window and start examining it, pulling the curtain on this window. What do you want to see?
Is it simple or complicated?
simple. Like, you're not going to get a motion picture on this, but you can definitely imagine landscape somewhere and see the window portraying that landscape. It's not going to be the actual landscape, it'll be an image of, but it's very simplistic images.
I think the landscape that would normally be outside of this place, like in the countryside, is pretty spectacular, given the magic that's flowing here, so I'll just see that. But if possible, I'd like to see it as though I had detect magic on at all times, like for anybody to see if they were looking at it.
Okay. And with that, you will see the screen projecting the ley lines that are throughout the land. You will see the fish swimming in the rain, as that was the last image that you had taken. And you will see this fantabulous scene. What does remark to you, though, is looking at the people who are wandering on the street, and even some of the fish that are more in the distance, they're faceless, amorphous. You can tell that they're people, but it's hard to make them out.
Oh, the distance, yeah, of course. That makes perfect sense. Okay. So I'll pull my pillow down to near the window and just look out the window and like casually fall off to sleep.
All right. So with that, Eelix, you were the only one still awake and still with baggage for the day. I don't know what Nyphix is doing, but she is not here for this.
She went to bed early.
Yeah. What are you up to as you are now in private outside of the town? Just you, the trees, and the fish swimming.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm mainly the big thing I'm doing is trying to get all the information for what Arby can and can't do, like what his capabilities are. And I was looking on the Discord. I just haven't found the thing yet.
I haven't posted it yet. I didn't think you were going to jam him into the ley line. That was not on my itinerary.
Well, if anything, I'm great at causing a disturbance.
I have the goo egg in there. Born from it's now. That's your problem.
Yeah.
That will be mutating once the session ends.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically, I'm going to sit down somewhere and suss out with Arby the things that he's capable of doing, like I'm basically, after I get that information, I'm going to use that to come up with ways that I can use this guy tactically.
So essentially, what you're asking for is a character sheet.
Pretty much.
So
a stat block.
Chop chop is what he's saying.
You don't have to give it to me now. I mean, I'm saying that's just what Eelix was going to be doing when he got away. Like, his thing was to go have a conversation with this new entity that's basically doing the Venom symbiote thing in him, and figure out what he can do, what he's capable of, and then, how that could work as a partnership with how Eelix typically operates. Like, we already saw one application of, damn, that fucking worked.
So, while you were playing around with the egg, when it was still an egg, you were pumping magic spells into it. A lot of the magic spells that you were putting into it, like Blistering Invective, and
Detect
other
magic, alter self, like all my like sleep, my crowd control type stuff. Yeah.
So wildly, he did not take on like mimicry. He did not take on any abilities that would shy away from your school, but his spells are more bardic in nature. As such, he has access to the same level of spells which you do. I believe your spells tap out at 2.
I think, 2 possibly. Let me scroll all the way down.
I believe you get level 3 spells next level out.
Yeah, level 2 spells are level 2, caster level 4.
Speaking of which,
so you get the level after the next dungeon.
Okay.
So with that, It gains spells like Lullaby, which helps out with sleeping spells, makes people drowsy, fucks up perception checks. It got Ghost Sound, it detect magic. It gained a message spell, so you can whisper things at a distance. It gained a Charm Person type effect. Hideous Laughter. One spell you're not sure why it picked up. Cure Light Wounds.
Not complaining.
Yeah, why would you complain about that? That's ridiculous.
However, you can feel free to ask why it picked up that spell.
Yeah.
That's not in the wheelhouse. It's not in anything. It can do ventriloquism, which allows it to voice. It has Disguise Self. For level 2 stuff, it has Calm Emotions, Daze Monster. But it has quite a number of things.
Any like damage capabilities like magic missile or anything like that?
Unfortunately, not really.
That's okay. And skill wise, kind of like the ventriloquism, disguise. Okay. Kind of like a little mini me. So,
however, as this thing is also older and wiser, it's going to start learning things like Saving Finale, which allows it to burn one of its reactions to help somebody out in making a saving throw that they just fucked up. And it's going to keep that support role going, trying to imitate the same support that you have. It's not saying that it can't learn new things, because as a symbiote, it's learning from you.
Yeah. Okay. So...
And as your mirror self also said, there are things that you can do to mutate it in certain ways, but it's dangerous.
Yeah. We'll have the mutate conversation later. So I'm going to ask it. So Arby, you can cure wounds. That's well outside. That's out of pocket for us.
Yeah.
Pocket.
No. It is outside of our visage, but not us.
Well, I guess the easiest way to what I was trying to say is not exactly an area of my expertise.
It is the mask you wear. You come that you do not care, but your actions speak louder than words. We could run away as many times. We're always there, though, for many reasons. This will help us further our reasons.
Okay.
Keep the mask.
Speaking of masks, you can guard my hand from the worms by covering it. Can you mimic the the disguise self and those types of spells that I have, alter self, and basically form a mask for me if I need it?
Yes, I can do this.
Okay, so I don't
But
need those spells
also,
anymore.
if you ever get hit in the head with falling wood again, we can heal ourselves and it never happened.
Okay.
No witnesses, no crime.
Very true. No witnesses. All right. Do you need to be attached to me, or can you go off on your own?
I can go off on my own, but I can also be hit. So it is dangerous.
None of my other spells are necessary for touch just yet. Let's see. Close, medium, personal, whatever. Personal. Yeah, nothing here I have is touch, so. Familiar rule. So you're saying this thing functions like a familiar, you said, right?
Yep.
So I could cast spells through it, yes or no? Is that
Yep.
a thing in Pathfinder?
That is a thing in Pathfinder. It is. Witches Spell School is really fond of it. Wizard Spell School can do it with some feats and stuff taken. You can cast through yours as well.
Okay.
And yours later on down the line will gain the Empowered trait, which also means that spells cast through your familiar are stronger. So Sleep, where it only hits 4 hit dice, will now hit 6.
Yeah.
But that's once it starts evolving and getting better.
Yeah. Oh, this thing's gonna be a fun little thing to play with. Oh, me and Arby are gonna be quite the menace. I can definitely see that now.
Also, keep in mind, level 2 Bard spells, invisibility is inside that school.
Is it now?
That it is.
What do I feed this thing? What do I feed you?
I eat the magic you produce. All spells have runoff, and I eat that.
So I need to keep casting spells to keep you fed.
Yes, or you just give a small donation.
Okay. Oh man, I'm not gonna do that. No, I will be nice. I will be nice. I already did something really fucked up by just putting the egg in the ley line.
I mean, you don't have to conceal that fucking thought boner from me. I can see it on your face. You're having fun.
Show him the thought boner. He asked.
So, all right.
Judgment-free zone.
Sorry,
He's
what?
checking to see if it's an average thought boner.
I said this is a judgment-free zone.
Yeah. So Arby, what you're saying is I need to feed you magic, and I got you to hatch by using the ley line.
Yes.
And you function more or less as an extension of myself.
Yes.
What if we found a place where 2 of these ley lines crossed each other? What do you think would happen if we found a nexus point and we went and had dinner? You fed off of that while I projected into you.
I want to know.
That's what we're going to go do then.
All right.
Welcome to life. Here's a smorgasbord.
Yeah.
So
The
you
Rifts
wander
player
around-
in me made that come out.
you wander around town for a bit, and as you're trying to find ley lines that do cross and create a matrix or a nexus, there are no naturally occurring matrices or nexus points up here at the realm. You do see instances, like specifically as you go to scope the wood, where there are multiple ley lines that go through the church,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not sure if they curve at any point when they get in there. There's a possibility that there are matrices and nexuses there. Same thing with the castle. You weren't able to get close enough, but there are so many ley lines on that castle. The castle is so huge to be a nexus point somewhere. And what's more, if these things are coming out of the ground and coming up and into its vertice naturally, also a theory is going to be at strong points of contact, like that temple you're about to go in.
Yeah.
You start to realize that there are reasons why buildings are built where they're built on these on this ground.
The more significant building, the more ley lines are on them.
Yep.
Yep. That's the Rifts player in me was starting to think that line.
That ley line.
Okay. All right, Arby. We're gonna head back to the room. Keep an eye out on the rest of them with their worms. Let me know if anything changes. Stay silent, only in the head. Don't make any appearances. We don't want them freaking out about you just yet.
Okay. I will do.
And if you see anything really off besides the worms, give me a ping.
All right. And at this point, I'm assuming Karrith and Razzik have both found their ways to their beds and laid down. So when you enter into the room and you see your two sleep, you will take note that Razzik doesn't have worms anymore. You will see the corpses inside of his body.
Worm corpses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Same that we've seen in Nyphix when she was killed. And you will also take note that whatever hand he decided to choose is radiating magic on its own.
Okay.
Left.
Noted. And I'm gonna go to bed.
You mean? Sorry, no, I'll shut up.
He doesn't want an ice. He wants the icy stranger and the.
Yeah, that's exactly where my brain went.
All right.
My left hand.
Yeah. Why? Just do you have a reason behind that, or is it just?
It was just comical. It was just comical. It's just so often I hear it that way.
So with that, we dip in once more to the dream world, and Karrith, do you wish to call out?
Is it the same place?
You feel yourself in a blank dream, an open, empty canvas, something you can paint of your own volition. And as you start to think, things start to pop in to reality, this dream forming in front of you. You are, in effect, lucid dreaming. And you do not feel the presence. You don't feel the dog. He is living up to his word. It is your choice. When you are ready, you must open that door. Simply call his name.
I think he's in a weird debated thought process because he's thinking about a lot of what Eelix said. And it's kind of clouding the way he's thinking. Like if he's making a decision, what if Eelix is right? What if his way is the right way? And whatever he does here just screws it up. I think he would think about that beach again.
And as you do, the beach lays itself out in front of you. The white sand, the black waters and skybox, foam bubbling and careening back out, and the vast empty ocean. But again, no presence.
Not even the worm.
Not even the worm. As you look down and you start trying to examine the sand, you will find a worm as it materializes. And it starts to cross that border of, did you think this into existence? Was it here? Same thing with that face of Vickers. Did you think it into existence or was it here?
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of the things that screws him up the most is just fabricating all of it, kind of thing. And it's like, so was it me that was thinking that maybe it is possible to resurrect them, but what purpose would that be? Does it change anything? Is it righting a wrong? It's just, he feels so loose and out of it that he's just like, yeah, that was such a stupid thought, but it was so quick and it felt second nature. And then he looks back where the dog once was, and Sarvoth?
And as you call out, you will feel that presence come, and across, not materializing, just walking out of the darkness, you will see that ice void dog once more. He wanders right up to you and sits down. He goes, "Yes, you called."
I've been having a couple thoughts since the last time we spoke. And I want to know. What would I have to give up to you?
I see. This is always the harsh question, isn't it? But in a lot of these bargains, it comes down to the soul. I'm not interested in the now, I'm interested in the thereafter, as most of my kind.
Hmm.
I will grant you my power in return for a champion.
What champion do you even see in front of you?
That is always the problem, is it not? When rested in front of the mirror, you are presented with a face that you see every day. It's easy for you to judge. It's always there. It's always those who are viewing from the outside that see us as we are. The potential. The unmolded clay.
This wouldn't hurt them, would it?
I suppose if you cut them, it would. But now, this is just you.
And only my decision.
Only yours.
And I'm the only one who will deal with the consequences.
That is correct.
Then how does one become champion?
Simple. And he holds up his paw and he goes, "Let's shake on it. And then walk together."
He walks up to this dog, and I will ask, what does this dog look like in some way?
Imagine a Doberman Pit, entirely jet black, no brown whatsoever. The dog has ice blue eyes. You can see as it talks. The inside of its mouth is normal and red, white teeth as well. The ears on top are very wispy. They come off in very jagged lines. It almost has like a smoke trail coming off of its body. There is a vapor that comes off of this dog that almost bubbles as it's moving away from it, almost as if he's effervescent in a way. And unlike a lot of Doberman pinchers, it does have a tail. It is long and straight, but he can wrap it around his body. And in this moment, it is kind of, even this paw is massive. For a Doberman pinscher, he sits about as big as an Alaskan Malamute.
Okay.
Like
Definitely
you
what I
kneeling
was
down for this
envisioning for
dog,
sure.
huh?
I was like, definitely what I was envisioning for sure. I was like, just trying to think what if I was actually seeing the same thing.
Like even as you kneel down, you kind of have to look up at this dog. He's pretty big.
Yeah. And I try to figure how I put my hand in under this paw.
And as you put your hand on the paw and he puts his paw on your hand, you will feel the icy touch of his paw. And then you will watch a sword begin to materialize. This sword has an extremely blackened. the darkest black you've ever seen. So dark it actually makes the light around it kind of bend into it. And then you'll watch as the door creaks open once more, and that slit-like passage, that cat's eye, opens up, and that white brick lies in front of you. And on that white brick path, where before there was nothing, there is now a small square arena, and a giant made of iron, clad in white armor, sits, waiting, both hands rested on his weapon, a large and imposing greatsword. Come with me. And he removes his hand from yours, proceeds to wander away, going through the portal himself.
What am I getting myself into? And they walk through.
You step through, and the portal doesn't close behind you. But as you're walking, the bricks fall away. And the farther you go, that portal becomes inaccessible. You are now on top of this square podium. Our first job is to learn how to harness the power that I've given you. You can use this ability 3 times per day. And let's start with a rather large target. And you'll watch the giant nods to you, and he lifts his sword and readies it alongside himself. This giant easily is 4 times your size. It is comical that you're about to fight this thing. He looks at you and goes, "You'll find that the first move is yours. Envision in his chest, if you will, a void, nothing, an empty space, and then slash across that line with your sword."
Okay. And then what?
You'll see.
He half-hazardly swipes.
No, that won't do. You must put your whole heart into it. You have to want it.
I'm trying to understand the bigger story here. Something like this wants to be attacked.
It is a combatant.
And what happens to it after?
Well, given your level of power, probably nothing much. It'll heal, and it'll get better. We'll revisit this when you're ready for your next. But if you're worried about hurting it or its feelings, I assure you, there's nothing in there. Just armor.
I'm sure the only feelings I would hurt is that I wouldn't give it a good enough fight. Something Captain Vickers once told me. A true opponent is one that respects another. And all right. And he's going to go ahead and swing and give it all he's got.
And as you set yourself up, you bring your sword to your side and cut across that line. And a wave of darkness comes out of your sword and blasts into this creature. You'll watch him stumble back as he takes the hit. And then he re-readies himself. And you'll see that you've done significant damage for what you hit. With that, the creature rears its sword above its head and begins to swing down. And as it's coming down, this incredibly large creature is doing also a sword swing for its size, let's be honest. And Sarboth will look at you and go, now imagine you were not here, but over there, over there, over there. It really doesn't matter where you imagine yourself. Just envision yourself not in the way of this attack. Also, make sure to keep it short. You can only go about 20 feet at the moment.
How far is its shoulder to me?
If it gets all the way down to where it almost will hit you, 20 feet.
I imagine getting on top of its shoulder.
With that, you'll watch as the blade careens down this ivory obelisk. And as it is 2 inches from your face, you hear a brrr, and the ground goes out where you were standing. You apparate on his shoulder. Of course, that's also a limited usage. But you will get stronger, and it will get better. And you will become more and more a champion. You know what's something your captain didn't tell you? That
What's that?
as you improve and you get stronger, even the most insurmountable odds begin to seem minuscule. It's not the size of the enemy, but your perspective on it. And you'll feel the giant that you're standing on shrink a bit. Or maybe you grew. Not positive. When you're ready, there'll be more. But first, grow in what you've learned. And I'll be here. Good rest to you, my champion.
Thank you.
And with that, ooh, why am I so bad? Oh, I'm popping up on deaths. I'm getting here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It didn't do it at all until right now. That's
I know, right? It's so weird. But with that, the Tree of Ravens awakens for the next morning, and before they greet the day, we shall close this session.
Now that we're done,
Okay.
2 things. One, so both of you, for both of your individual situations, there's like 50 questions neither one of you asked. It blows my mind. Secondly, are any of you guys fans of the Dragonlance series?
Yes, and how do you know I haven't typed up any questions to Spike in the background?
I don't, but I know what you've asked in game, and not even scratching the surface. So many questions specifically for Nate.
Yeah.
So many questions. It blows me.
I was watching you Google. Your glasses were showing your.
Oh, I was I keep getting text messages the whole damn time.
You heard the name Sarboth, and I watched your face go, and you were like.
Yeah, immediately I was like, but no joy on that road. I mean, there were references, but they weren't helpful.
They're not gonna be.
No, they're not. Yeah, I don't think so. You're not going to make it that easy.
No, never.
But based on how the name sounds, like I can guess where exactly he's about and where exactly his people are. So, you know. But on to the point of Dragonlance. So, around 2009 or so, they stopped making Dragonlance books, and they didn't make them for like 20 or 10 years, right?
Mhm.
And then recently they started making a new series. So 2 books have already come out, and the 3rd book just launched. And I wanted to show you guys this because my brother gave it to me for my birthday as like an early birthday present. It just came out, and not only
Mhm.
did he give me the hardback, but apparently he got the signature of Margaret Weiss, who wrote the book,
Oh,
with
nice.
it. And I was like, oh, dude, he blew birthday out of the water. I was almost teary eyed. I was like, oh,
Wow,
yeah,
that's
it was
awesome.
pretty dope.